What's up, everybody? We're early morning coffee, bedhead, bedbeard, uh, two pictures. Double the pleasure, double the fun. Yeah, we'll go cheese first thing in the morning. Um, let's talk 2024. I've got ideas, and if you've been around my channel for any length of time, you know that I like to experiment and I like to try new things. And I've been really inspired these last few months in particular. Out of all the content creators I follow, Carnage really stands out to me as like the guy I would like to strive to be. I probably got to tone my language down to be able to get to that point and not do controversial discussions around startups and failed indie MMORPGs. You know what I'm talking about. Um, so we'll see if I begin to mellow out or not, or if I keep that part of the channel. But one of the things I really like about what he does is like all the things he does, and it's easy to do when you have a team, less easy to do when you don't have a team. But um, anyway, I'm rambling here. I'm doing a lot of R&D the past couple of weeks in particular. So YouTube is my home. I've built my brand here. We're gonna get to 20,000 followers this year. We've definitely slowed way down after the post Baldur's Gate 3 rush. That's normal. I've had 3 big peaks around this channel. 4, I guess, if you count Cyberpunk at the very beginning. But the 3 big peaks have been Rings of Power, the OGL situation with Dungeons and Dragons, and then Baldur's Gate 3. Those have been the 3 big peaks for my channel that have seen the most amount of growth. Each one of those peaks has lasted 2 to 3 months. And then after each one of those waves, we reach a new plateau, we move forward, and then we find whatever's the next one. And it's, you never know what the next one's going to be. So I'm constantly throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. I have reached a point now where um, we've hit 2 of our 3 goals for the year of 2023. Channel membership is rising, so thanks to those of you who are supporting the channel. Once we hit that 3rd goal with channel membership, we'll have hit all 3 goals. It'd be interesting to see if we can hit that one by the end of the year. We'll see. But we got 2 of our goals, one of which was 10,000 followers, which were double that, and $1,000 a month in revenue for 3 months consecutively. We've done that now, more than $1,000 a month in revenue on the channel. And we're heading into November, December, which are traditionally the slower months of the year. But YouTube has always been a big deal for me. And when this channel first got monetized last year in February of 2022, I did a lot of streaming of MMO stuff because that's what I was still heavy into MMOs. But the issue with streaming that I found at the time was that where the channel was at that point in time was the streaming revenue was not enough to pay the bills. So I revamped the strategy and said I'm going to start doing game guides in 2023. And once I started doing game guides for all these different guides, I actually used I've talked about this in the member section for those of you who want to dive into it more. But I went into and I used ChatGPT and other tools to help research what was going to potentially work for my channel, and I came up with the Ultimate Beginner's Guide series, which I do for most games I play. It doesn't work for every game. If it's a single player, like God of War or Jedi Survivor, it doesn't work that well. But for CRPGs, it works great. For MMORPGs, it works great. The Ultimate Beginner's Guide works great. And then I get to focus on the early stages of the game, which is where new players will focus. And I don't necessarily have to worry about like the advanced guides, which a lot of other players do, or like the tiered lists and stuff like that. I try to stay away from those because those are more advanced for people who are really going to go whole hog into any given game. Whereas not everyone plays games that way. So the way I'm doing it has worked for me. The channel has grown significantly throughout 2023, and we are at a point at the end of 2023 where as long as the numbers stay where they're at, all of our bills are getting paid, and we're not adding really anything to the savings, but that's not that big of a deal in the long-term scope. Well, my plan for 2024 was just to continue to doing what I was doing, and just yeah. However, the announcement by Twitch last like 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, that they were going to now allow multi-streaming has opened up another window, another outlet. So I do know that I have a vote open right now because of I have my schedule has changed a little bit here on the homestead because of our cats, and not just the cats, but mostly it's because for those of you who've been here for a while, we lost Sam, we lost Christina, lost her baby kitty cat a few months back because of traffic on the our homestead is up against a road which is not traditionally ever used. When we first moved here, it was maybe 10 cars a day, and then the city started pulling up culverts and drain pipes and redoing all these streets, and ours has become a thoroughfare. And we weren't really paying attention to traffic because we were busy because Dora had her foot surgery and all this other stuff, one of the other cats. And long story short, we have since modified that to keep the male cats inside to try to keep them from going across the road. We do let them out at night. Um, but the schedule, the traffic is not getting better because they're continuing to rip stuff up, and so now we're having to keep the boys locked down until like midnight. And as a result, I'm staying up till midnight. Now, if you've been around for a while, you know that traditionally I go to bed at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, and then I get up at 4 o'clock, and my magic hour for getting work done is like 4 until 10, traditionally. That is changing because of all this stuff we have to deal with around us to try to keep all of our animals safe. So, um, I'm staying up late now, and so I've begun to toss around this idea now that multi-streaming is here. Um, I think one of the things I would like to look at doing for 2024 is to start streaming more regularly. I think it can become financially viable now. I've been very open and transparent about this in the past, especially for those of you who are members of my channel, because we do the analytics reports and everything else from time to time, and we talk about channel growth and the income and everything else. Um, I don't stream very often because it doesn't make me a lot of money. I make 85% of my revenue off of ads from the videos that go out for all my guides and everything else. And then about 10% of the revenue, it just varies on a month-to-month basis, but about 10% is from memberships and about 5% is from SuperChats and SuperThanks and people, putting donations on videos. So when you look at 15% of my channel revenue max being from memberships, what I've been doing is the ad revenue combined with memberships after taxes has been enough to pay our bills. And then we've had a couple of good months around Baldur's Gate 3 where I was able to take the additional membership revenue and apply that to things like I bought a capture card, which was a few $100s. I got a new headset because I had to replace the one that Lucas chewed up. But as we've looked at the growth, membership has continued to grow very slowly, but membership is growing on the channel. Obviously, subscriber numbers are growing. And now that we're multi-streaming on Twitch, the membership is growing I should say the follower count is growing. It's different terminology over there. But that account is growing because we're multi-streaming now from time to time. And we have people who are supporting over there as subscribers, which is the same thing as channel members here. We have some people who are double dipping. Y'all are crazy, but I also thank you so much for the support. It's sorry guys, I got sidetracked with hearing noises outside. So growth is going up and growth is going good. Now that multi-streaming is here and looking at like Co-Carnage and things, I'm starting to think that I might consider doing streaming on a more regular basis. And I'm still playing around with that idea because there's a few factors here. One of which is I haven't done it before because of the financial thing. I make way more money off the ad revenue, so it's better for me to spend my time doing that. But also because of the adjustment of schedule, I'm now looking at having I I have the time to get into regular streaming. But the caveat is this: I have to find a time that works, and B, it has to be financially viable for me. And that doesn't mean, I need everybody rushing out and doing things above and beyond what they're already doing. No, that's not what I'm suggesting. But what I am suggesting is that obviously one of the big things you look at with any channel is how do I bring more people into the fold? Because what you want is more viewers, more people, more everything. It's channel growth. You want to grow. And the next goal that I have for this channel is I want to get to 100,000 followers. With 100,000 followers, you get the check mark, you get verified, your account gets verified, you get a plaque. And it's a big goal to shoot for. Like getting to 100,000 followers on YouTube is a big deal. And that is my next objective. Like no more small objectives. We're not doing any more small time stuff. We're looking at, okay, we've hit the base, the foundation is built. Now it's time to build. So I realize that streaming is a big deal for a lot of people. They like to watch people streaming. I have in the past been hesitant to do it when we first moved here because of the internet not being perfect. However, we got a secondary connection installed about 3 months ago, and so far it's been working very well. I haven't had any issues. You guys have been here who've been watching when I stream. There's been a couple times where my main connection will duck out because it's a cable internet. I live in the boonies. And then this new local company has a very small fiber optic. It's not anything fancy. It's literally a 15 down, 15 up, but it's enough to stream off of. So I've noticed that anytime my main connection ducks out, it's literally just really quickly switch out the Ethernet cables and I'm back in business, and I've been able to reliably just keep trucking along. We haven't had any outages. There are still power outages where we live, and that's a big thing. So I have to pay attention to that. So regularity is key for streaming. It's hard for me to stream during the morning hours. So if you'll notice, if my stream schedule has always just been sort of around 10 a.m. Central Time. Because generally that's when I finish up my video production. I'm done with chores. Chris and I have finished any errands we need to run. And I can probably sit down and focus. But then there's still stuff that's going on. We've got, maybe there's an Amazon package that's coming and I got to deal with that. And there's all these things that can take my attention away from being able to just sit there and stream. So one of the big challenges for me is if I'm going to incorporate streaming into this channel's growth strategy, is figuring out when that's going to happen. It might be twice a day. It might only be once a day. But there needs to be a time that people can reliably know that they can tune in and watch. So one of the ideas I'm toying with, and there's a vote going on right now, is just the idea of, do we experiment with a late night stream? Which I'm usually, like I said, if you've been around my channel for any length of time, I like to go to bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock and get up at 4. But that's no longer viable because of everything that's going on with the homestead. So I have to stay up until midnight. And I've just been doing video production. So I'm toying around with the idea of doing a stream, like a late night stream. I also really like doing early morning streams. I like to sit here first thing in the morning with a cup of coffee, and I did in the very early days of this channel when I first got monetized. I did what was it called? It was coffee and something, where I would just sit here and play games at like 5 o'clock in the morning for a couple of hours. But again, it was never. I think that was maybe even before the channel got monetized. I have done lots of things over this channel's growth. I guess the rambling thing I'm talking about here, because we're 14 minutes in, and I don't even know if I've made a point yet. I would like to consider streaming as a part of my growth strategy for next year. And I would like to start experimenting with it in the latter part of this year to see if I can make that become a viable thing, or if I just need to put it out of my mind and only focus on doing content creation. It's easier for me to do content creation because I can record videos whenever. It's like, I've got a spare 45 minutes here. Let's record the video, come back to it an hour later after I've done chores, and I can do the editing, and then get it uploading, go back outside while it's uploading, do some more chores. And then traditionally when the fall weather hits, we live in a tropical environment, so it finally cools down enough in 85, 90 degrees during the day where Chris and I feel comfortable enough to go outside and do a lot of yard work. So we do a lot of landscaping and stuff. Like last year I built the chicken coop and the cat refuge. If you remember, we put those videos up as well. I did it all by hand with a hand saw and a hammer and nails. Went back to my carpentry roots and built some stuff, and we've got more stuff that we want to build in the backyard. And we're about to go we got to get a ladder, and we got to go do roof repairs and stuff on our homestead building. We do have a homestead channel. I don't put a lot of content there right now. Maybe once a month we'll put a video up. Um, and we have all the chickens that Chris is doing, and we obviously have all of our cats, and we're thinking about getting a dog maybe, and we've talked about a goat. I don't know. We're looking at ideas. So now that we're multi-streaming, I guess the big thing for me is that I would be stupid not to add regular streaming to my schedule. But it's just in the back of my mind is always going to be the fact that it needs to be at a time when I can make it happen reliably with a schedule, and it needs to be something that is financially viable. By financially viable, I mean, is it bringing in new members who are then going to financially support? Is it bringing in revenue from, and I have to watch my terminology here, like on Twitch it would be bits and cheers, and on YouTube it would be SuperChats and SuperThanks. And then in terms of those do generate ad revenue, right? So the amount of viewers watching is important. But like one of the things I've done the last few weeks is and it works, but at the same time it means I have a reduced chat rate. Actually it's been more than a few weeks. I've been doing this for a couple of months now. Anytime I stream, you'll notice that it's set to only paying members can participate in live stream chat on YouTube, and I've got it set up the same way on Twitch. And there's two reasons for that. One, I feel it's a great way to give back to the people who give to me, people who are supporting me financially. I think it's a great way to give them a perk of saying, you're supporting me financially, even if it's, what it doesn't matter, $2, $3 a month, whatever it is. This is a perk. Of that. I think that's a great transaction. It adds transactional value in the sense that not only is there being support given for the content that's being streamed, but also there's being given back to that user and saying, hey, thanks so much. Now we can do more one-on-one interaction. It also eliminates the need for me to have a moderator, at least at this scale. That might change as the channel grows. I know pretty much everybody employs moderator teams. I do not participate in volunteer stuff, so I will never have volunteer mod staff. If I can't pay someone to be a moderator, I won't have a moderator. So the easy solution to that is I just keep everything to subscriber only, member only, whatever. The downside to that is that we lose a lot of the chatter that I would otherwise have in stream chats, and that can impact your algorithm in terms of the algorithm noticing that there's a lot of stuff going on in that stream. And so that's a downside. I have to, I have to be willing to admit that that's a downside. But believe me, I accept that as a sacrifice I'm willing to make and deal with smaller stream numbers and everything else. Because you'll notice, like a few months ago, I wasn't doing that, and our numbers for streams were much bigger. And part of the reason that was because I had it all open to everybody, but it became a nightmare to have to moderate people, especially once we started streaming Starfield, because there are a ton of anti-Bethesda trolls out there who just wanted to come on the streams and shit all over anybody who was having fun in Starfield. And I don't want to deal with that. I have no desire to have to moderate people for just being dicks in chats. And so it's like it was way easier to say, you know what? It's a perk for my members. I don't have to moderate. I don't have to worry about having a moderator team. I'll accept the lower numbers and just deal with it. And I'm okay with that. But as we look towards whether or not I'm going to officially start streaming or not, how do I adjust the strategies to get the most out of streaming if streaming is going to become an actual thing for me as I look at expanding beyond simply being a content creator. I've been very, very adamant about the fact that I'm not a streamer. I am a content creator, first and foremost. Streaming is always secondary. Streaming is always if I have time. It's not every day. I try to do every day, but yesterday I had to take Lucas to the vet. We have a homestead. There's always stuff going on. We started off with 10 little chicks, baby chicks like 6 weeks ago. We're down to 4 because chicken hawks and animals, and we've had to do a lot of stuff. I said there's always things that take me away, and so I've always said content creator first, streamer secondary. But looking at what I need to do to be a viable competitor in the 2024 space, the visibility and the cost of opportunity is such that you really have to be everywhere at once if you can be. And with multi-streaming now on the table, it just, like I said, I'd be stupid not to do this. Anyway, I've put a lot of rambling thoughts down here. We're 20 minutes in, so this will be a slightly different video here on the channel for people. But those of you who are invested in this channel and the continued evolution of this channel and the community and everything else, that's what this is for. If you're a random person who stumbled across this, awesome. Feel free to drop your commentary down below. Join the Discord, like, subscribe, all those things. But mostly I'm looking to those of you who actually tune in on a regular basis beyond, the spikes of popular content. Those of you who stick around for all the things that I do, the podcasts, the TV show reviews, the film reviews, all the different games we play. I'd love to hear from you. In terms of regular streaming, I'm going to be doing some voting. We've got one vote going on right now asking about a late night stream. The numbers are skewing towards there's enough people that say they're interested. I think we're up to like fifth. Let me go look real quick. I'll refresh the page to see how many people have voted so far. Looks like 57 people have voted, and we're at a 50%. Excuse me, 56% of people have said yes, they would tune in. Because I do have a lot of Europeans in my audience. So, if I look at that and say that 60% of those people have said that there's 30 people there. There's 30 people that would tune in to a late night stream according to that poll. And that poll just went up yesterday, so that number may skew one way or the other. But it also means that there's another 25 people who would rather me stay to an early morning schedule or the existing schedule that I've been using, which hasn't really been a schedule. It's more been like I'm going to try to be live around 10 a.m. if I can, depending on things. But just with all the animals, I'm finding it a challenge to do anything during that time of the day because if we need to go to the vet, I got to do it. The vet literally gets to the vet clinic. The doctor shows up at 10 o'clock in the morning. So if I do anything to deal with the vet, I got to go at 10 o'clock. The feed store, 9 o'clock. When we do grocery shopping, like all of the things that Chris and I need to do, that has to be stuff outside for the homestead. Everything takes place at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Recently, I had to go to the dentist. I had to go get some. I had to do a checkup and physical. I had to go get some X-rays. Like all this stuff throughout the month of October, where everything I was doing, all of my appointments were happening at like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, which is why the stream schedule for the month of October was just shot. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to stream, it has to be at a time when there's nothing else going on, which is either going to be an early morning stream, and I haven't done a vote for this yet, but it's either going to be like an early morning stream, like 6 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning, or a late night stream from like 9 o'clock until midnight. Those are the two options that make it best for me in terms of reliability and being there every single time on time for a regular schedule, and then I could do my content creation outside of that. So that's the struggle bus for me right now is figuring out how I'm going to make all this work. But I am eyeballing evolution of this channel, everybody. We're 25 minutes in. I'm rambling. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you're new. Love to hear your feedback and thoughts. Drop them down below. Yes, we're multi-streaming now. It's a big thing. it's going to become a bigger thing. I will be incorporating streaming somehow into the strategy for 2024. I just don't know what it looks like yet. And that's why I'm here just talking to people. Because I really, like I said, when I look at what Co Carnage does, out of all the other content creators that I watch, he's the one that I really look to and say I would like to. Not, I don't need the numbers don't have to be the same. I like his style. He's got his cat on stream. Chris and I have literally been looking to see if I can't find a cat stand because I would love to have my cats on stream. The problem is my cats are crazy, and they're also outside cats. So when they come in here, this is my green screen, and it's a fabric, and so they'll do things like climb on the green screen and jump behind the television, and they do crazy stuff. My chair, I don't know if you can see it, but like my chair, you're not gonna be able to see it. This hold down section right here, you see all those scratches right there, like behind me, like that the chair is just destroyed. The other chair is destroyed. It's just, you know, it is what it is. But I look at his streams and he's live all the time, and then he takes the live content and that gets cut into the content that gets produced for his YouTube channel. So he's live on Twitch, and he's trying to get his contract renegotiated. He talked about this the other day. I saw it on one of his TikToks. He's trying to get his contract renegotiated because he wants to be able to multi-stream too. But traditionally, he streams like 8 hours a day on Twitch, and then has the team come in and cut all that content up into uploads for, which is the Let's Play series that he does. And I love that format. I love the idea of, like, if I'm gonna play a game, and if I could sit, I can't do 8 hours a day, guys. I can't. There's not where we're at right now, but I could do reliably. I could do 3 or 4 hour sessions. That's something I could absolutely do. And then outside of that, look at, then cutting that content into Let's Play videos and snippets for social media and shorts and everything else. And yes, if the channel growth continues to do good things next year, 2024, I would like to expand the team. So Mr. Beast is very interesting in that he talks about this, like he just bought a big studio space, and he's not married, he doesn't have kids, he doesn't he just lives for the content, and 100% of the money that he makes goes back into his enterprises and building. So he was showing like his little studio that he lives in inside the warehouse space, and it's literally just a sparse little thing. And I've shown people around the homestead. We don't care. Like, we have a place that's paid for in cash. Someone tried to insult me the other day, and I got a chuckle out of it. They were reacting. They were upset about my Pantheon discussions, and they were like, "Oh yeah, he's just living like a pauper on his tiny little piece of property in Mexico, and sucks to be him." And I'm like, I don't know about you, but I have no debt. Like, 100% in the clear. I have no credit card debt. I have no school debt. I have no car loan. I have no house payment. Chris and I, it's all paid for. We're in our early 40s. I'm gonna be 44 in January, mid 40s, I guess now. But everything's paid for. I think you think you're mocking me by that statement, but you don't know how good I have it. I get to sit here and do this all day. Like, I don't know what your job is, but I get to play video games for a living, and that's pretty cool. But the idea is that we don't need a lot for our lifestyle and maintenance. So the idea is that as long as my bills are paid and I have enough money to put aside for our investments and stuff, I would like to hire somebody next year. I looked for somebody at the beginning of 2023, and I just never found anybody that was going to be able to do the things that I wanted to do. Um, I got a bunch of like low level intern type, and I'm like, I don't want an intern. I need somebody who knows how to do video editing. I need somebody. I mean, if I'm gonna hire somebody, it needs to be somebody who can be like me, and that's a multi-talented person. A multi-talented person also costs money, which is why I won't do volunteer staff. If I'm gonna hire somebody to come in and be my assistant, they need to be able to do video editing. They need to be able to um, moderate. When I'm live, they need to be able to do the things that I don't want to do. I need to be able to delegate to them, and I want to be able to pay that person a fair wage. So that's the other thing to look at, is as the channel grows, everything I'm doing is about the growth of this channel, because Chris and I don't need anything for here where we live because it's all paid for. So, at this point, as long as I've been very transparent about this with, like I said, members of my channel, you guys are the ones who get access to my analytics videos and my income statements and stuff like that. 100% of what I make beyond bills goes back into investing in new gear. Um, I'll eventually need a new laptop because this one's getting old. That'll probably be a 2024 thing. Knock on wood, it stays alive until then. But hiring somebody to come in and help as an assistant would be a great thing to do. I'd like to think that I can make that happen in 2024. So yeah, rambling video on my thoughts around um, streaming and stuff on a regular schedule. The multi-streaming is going well. That channel is growing. We're all it's growth everywhere, and that's all I care about is net growth. And so far, it's net growth everywhere, which is awesome. And it's I've been rambling for 30 minutes. I gotta go, folks. So love to hear your thoughts, feedback, etc. Um, yeah,